everybody, and welcome back to a very exciting episode of Double Barrel Podcast. My name is Chris.
I'm Justin.
We have an awesome podcast for you today. This is our Halloween special.
That means nothing.
Actually, it does, because we're going to be torturing ourselves after we do this awesome gun review behind the bar with some very not so maybe palatable choices.
Well, I wouldn't say that has anything to do with Halloween. It has everything to do with me feeling like torturing you.
Well, just remember, the torture goes both ways.
It does, but I picked my pick for behind the bar after we talk about the gun a little bit is one that's going to
gut rot.
It's going to hopefully put him on his butt.
Just remember, I have plenty more for you too, buddy.
You do.
All right, well, let's get into I'm excited for this one. This one's going to be awesome.
This one should be pretty fun. But first, let's talk about our safety.
All right.
You know, of course, first rule of firearms, always treat every firearm as if it is loaded. Never put your finger on the trigger unless you are ready to fire. Never point the gun at anything you are not willing to destroy. And know what your target is and what's beyond.
Absolutely. And then what's the fifth one we always talk about?
Fifth one we always talk about is never mix your guns and alcohol.
And drink and drive. Be
responsible. Don't drink and drive.
Be responsible.
Be responsible with your alcohol. It's never okay to mix the guns and the alcohol. These things can and will kill you if you are not safe with them, which is why we talk about safety at the beginning each episode. This is the Browning BAR.
Mm-hmm.
One of the most iconic guns in U.S. history.
Absolutely. And I am excited. So this one is the gun that I bought for hunting this year. And kind of an interesting backstory behind this one is my dad has one of the original BAR Safaris that was released in 1980 in a 300 Win Mag. It was one of the guns, in Dad's gun safe that you just go, that is just like the coolest thing in the world. Well, this year, I finally was able to purchase my own BAR in, go figure, 300 Win Mag, which is my personal favorite caliber of all time.
Which I don't understand, folks. I don't know why he thinks that he needs such a big caliber for things. But we'll talk about that a little bit more.
I was going to say, we can get into that a little later.
We'll dig into that later. But the BAR started out in 1918 at the end of World War I, being made by Browning.
It was one of the last ones he actually ever made.
It was, but he developed it in Belgium. Mm-hmm. And then his son, Lieutenant Browning, was responsible for teaching the troops how to use it. And it was an automatic rifle. It was full auto, had 20-round box magazine. It
was meant as like a suppression.
It was for clearing trenches originally. And then it got modified, and in World War II, it had a higher fire rate. Still that 20-round box magazine available in 30-06. And it was just so widely used, and it was such a good gun. It was one of the first squad automatic weapons available anywhere. And so it just has such a huge history. And then after World War I, World War II, and even the Korean War, they turned it into the BAR, the Browning automatic rifle, turned into a sporting rifle, which is the current configuration of semi-automatic. Mm-hmm. They stopped doing the full auto versions when the military stopped using the BAR and turned it into this sporting rifle meant for hunting, meant for
I think it was, what did we find, 68 or 72 is when the sporting model started coming out?
1968.
It was 68, okay.
It was 68 when the original sporting model started coming out. And then they, of course, had the BLR variant, which was the lever action version.
Right. And then they had the Safari version, which was the Magnum calibers in 1980.
Yeah. And now we're all the way up to the Mark III.
Yep. More specifically, this is Browning's flagship BAR for this year, current year. This is the BAR Mark III. I hope I'm pronouncing this right, in the Onvix Cerakote camo.
Yeah. Now, let's talk about the reliability. The BAR has a history of extreme reliability. This one, however, gave us some trouble when we got it.
Well, to its defense, though, I do not fault the gun for the issue we had. I fault Browning for not advertising it.
I agree.
However, I feel like it was a awesome addition to the Mark III. And I know what you're going to say. We didn't talk about the scoring in the categories for our new viewers that might be joining us today, correct?
That, and one other thing I want to mention about the BAR, even though Browning is a U.S. company.
Oh, yes. I love that fact that we found out.
And it was originally developed in Belgium, and then it started being manufactured in Portugal.
And it's still being made in the same factory in Portugal.
They are all made in every BAR since they moved to Portugal is made in Portugal. Even to this day, yes, it is an American rifle, but it is not American made. It's made in Portugal.
And that is because even though now it says right here, designed by Browning FN
Herstal, and Browning and FN Herstal kind of merged together, but they still use the same factory in Portugal that's Browning
all they make
started in.
That factory only makes the bar.
I don't know that they only make the bar, but they are the only place you can get a bar from.
And it's just incredible because I originally thought that these were all American made, and they're not.
You did, but I want to see. Yeah, sorry. Right here on the barrel, it even says "Made in Portugal" by Browning Viana. That's that factory, because every Browning BAR comes from that factory. That's just a cool fact that I wanted to mention to everybody, because that's not.
That was go through our head. We think it's an Americana.
I didn't even know that until we did some more research on this, and the BAR, the original Browning M1918, is my favorite gun of all time.
You got 20 grand laying around?
I wish I did.
We could probably get one for about 10 now, actually.
We might be able to. But anyway, let's dig into our scoring. Our scoring goes reliability, versatility, shootability, and cost. We score each category out of 5, and then total of 20, and those are to our opinion on whether or not this gun is
worth pursuing
for anyone, really. Now, back to the problem of this gun.
So, what do a lot of semi-automatic rifles have nowadays?
Well, I wouldn't say a lot. I'd say the majority.
Okay.
They all have gas blocks.
But what in specific are we starting to notice a lot of companies migrating to?
Well, see, and that's still a hit or miss. But the thing that this one has, it has that gas block, which you would expect.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's an adjustable gas block.
It's an adjustable gas block. And here's what's crazy about this. We were actually out in the field shooting this gun, getting it sighted in, getting ready to go for hunting. It was short stroking. We couldn't figure out it. Bought it brand new, factory new. Took it right out of the box, put the scope on it. Why is this not working? We'll come to find out after reading.
It took us actually 2 trips out to figure this out.
It's crazy.
So the first time we out, we had some hand loads.
And we thought it was the hand loads.
And we thought the hand loads were the issue because, that is a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we brought it back, and then we took it out with factory ammo.
Same thing.
And we had the same problem. And we just got so angry.
So frustrated. Well, after going through the owner's manual, Browning's website, it wasn't until I Googled it, literally Googled BAR Mark III short stroking. Voila, YouTube for the win. Adjustable gas block. But here's where it gets even trickier to me. Browning sends every single BAR now to you with the gas block completely closed.
Not completely closed. I had to turn it one full turn to fully close it.
Okay, so it's almost completely closed.
It's almost completely closed, which means you're going to get short stroking.
And here's what sucks about it. You have to remove the foregrip here, and actually, so you have to take the pin out here, the screw pin, remove this whole thing. Like, you almost have to disassemble the gun to actually even get to the gas block.
Yeah, but that originally, before we found that out, we were going to give this thing a 0.
Oh, I was literally about to call Browning and go,
give me my money.
What the crap?
You were. But once we figured that out, now this gun performs
phenomenal, like a bar.
Beautifully.
It performs like a bar. All right, Justin. One thing, though, for maybe some of our newer viewers or some of the people that aren't as
familiar,
let's actually talk about what a gas block versus adjustable gas block is.
So, a standard gas block is set by the factory to allow a specific amount of gas from you fire the round, the bullet goes down the barrel, followed by the gases, and the gas block diverts some of the gas back to cause the action to move and to eject the round and pull in the next one.
Correct.
That's what a gas block does. Now, a standard gas block is set by the factory at here's the amount of gas that's going to flow through it.
Here is your spec for whatever. You don't exceed this, period.
It's pre-drilled and it's stuck.
Correct.
This is the amount of gas going through.
Every BAR up till the Mark III has a preset gas block.
Now, the Mark III and a lot of AR-15s now have the adjustable, which you can adjust how much gas gets through to adjust how much gas gets pushed onto
to cycle the bolt.
The bolt. Now, this one, because we weren't expecting it, because we expected to have a standard gas block.
And a standard BAR, absolutely. And that was something that was different. We had to adjust, what was it? We went almost 2 turns?
2.5.
2.5 out. So we were 3.5 turns from fully closed, and the gun has cycled.
No. So we actually fully closed it.
And then we went back out.
And then it backed out 2.5. So we're 2.5 now.
And it has done amazing. And the hand loads, which are reloads that we've done or we've had my dad do for this gun in particular.
Yeah, so the hand loads are the ones that they're spent brass that we've put a new primer on, put more powder in, put a bolt back on, re-crimped them.
Yep.
Factory is, buy them from the store.
Yeah, going down to your local store and buying them. Anyway, this is a BAR in every sense of the word. Very reliable. We actually got the barrel pretty hot, because we were just enjoying the living crud out of it.
We were, but that's the great thing about that fluted barrel is it has a lot of surface area. It actually took the heat really, really well. There is one thing that I will say about the reliability that we still have a mild issue with.
Okay, I think I know where you're going with this, but go ahead.
The release right here, on the bolt, when we put the mag in with ammo in it, for some reason, unless we play with it a little bit and then put it in there, that release doesn't actually release the bolt.
And I was doing a little bit more research on this. When Browning ships these to you, they are so stiff, and the tolerance on them is just so minimal that a lot of things I've been reading is you literally just got to do this. You've got to work that spring, you've got to work that pin and you've just got to work it in. This is a gun that literally I feel like has to go through an actual true break-in process.
Well, and most guns we have, there is a break-in process to the guns. They come a little stiff from the factory, and you got to wear them out just a tiny, tiny bit. This one, that bolt release is the only thing that I think has an actual issue. Everything else has been
phenomenal,
beautiful.
Well, and I feel like that even the bolt release lever right here that he's talking about will probably here really soon after the amount of rounds we've put down it already. I think we've got 50 or 60 down it now.
We've got about 60 down it right now.
And now that we actually know, and I've done a little bit more homework on this, I think we're going to be able to see this become less and less of an issue. I've also noticed, though, and unfortunately my dad's is the same way, unless you load this thing right, because I've noticed that when I've loaded it, it's kind of done the pop thing right here.
Yeah, and I think that's what the problem is.
That's where the problem is. So loading this thing correctly and making sure that the ammo's sitting in there right. Again, though, it's part of the break-in, and I think it just is part of, and it is a negative. I will admit that it's a negative. It's just part of the BAR's configuration at the same time, though. We've never, after we got the
short stroking figured out,
we've never had a failure to eject. We've never had a failure to feed. It's all been this. It's just been the normal bolt release. But when I take this and I just do the rack, it's been flawless.
Oh, absolutely flawless. This gun, and we put about 60 rounds down it, just getting it all sighted in. Then we took it on the side of a mountain.
And my poor barrel here kind of found a little bit of a rock when we were crawling there, but it's fine. We the Cerakoting barely. I mean, we barely got a little bit of Cerakoting off of it. It's still in
great shape, but it still shoots wonderfully.
It's a BAR. It's a battle tank. I mean, this thing's
So as far as reliability goes, this is actually going to get a 4.7.
A 4.7. Interesting.
4.7. I'm going to knock it those points
just a little bit. Okay.
That 0.3 because we have an issue here with the magazine,
and we're going to monitor it and see if we can get it figured out.
You know, I feel like after 60 rounds,
that should be almost
that should be broken. We shouldn't be having that issue still, but we are.
I'm going to agree with you actually. It's because it's such a tiny thing here. At the same time, though, as much as I love this gun and I'm very biased with this gun, it can't achieve that 5. So I'm going to give it that 4.7 as well, for the same reason that you're giving it that. And again, though, I'm just going to say something about Browning here. I feel like whenever Browning builds a rifle, whenever they design a rifle, they design all of their guns with the purpose of hunting behind it. Every Browning I own, I feel like Browning's sole purpose behind it was, this gun is a hunting gun. This gun is going to be used for hunting. It is going to be in the field. We are designing this as a hunting gun, and they do a phenomenal job. And again, for this being a semi-automatic hunting rifle, blows my mind.
See, and it's a wonderful gun. I love the BAR. I always have. But I feel like they failed in one aspect.
Okay, what is that?
As far as making this a good hunting gun.
What was that?
It's heavy.
The gun is definitely a little heavy.
It's not as heavy as that VTR we talked about last time, but it is heavy.
At the same time, though, I was able to pack it around. I actually been able to hit a 80-inch gun at 200 yards freestanding and at the 100.
Yeah, no. Compared to the VTR, this is way lighter and way better.
I personally do blame myself, though, for the weight on this gun a little bit. I did put this massive 5x25 Vortex PST Gen 2 on it. I'm still toying with actually ripping this off and putting a more hunting friendly for the type of hunting you and I do on it.
Yes, that I would agree with. But, you know, aside from it being heavy, very good gun.
Absolutely. Let's get into versatility now. Here's the thing, though. This gun is in 300 Win Mag. We're going to talk about it in the specific caliber that it's in. I, however, want to go over the vast range that the BAR is available.
I was going to say, but when we talk about versatility, we got to make sure we're mentioning all of the range that this can come in. And if you correct me if I'm wrong, you can get this as low as 223.
Yes.
But you can get it all the way up to the 300 Ultra.
And you can get up to 300 Ultra. They may actually make a 375 H&H?
375 H&H Magnum. I'm not sure if they make that with this gun or
not.
But
I know they go up to the Ultra.
But it's everything in between there.
Yes. You've got 223, 243, 308, 65, 7mm, 30-aught. It's, you just throw a handful of darts, you're going to hit it.
Pick a caliber you can buy.
Yeah, exactly.
And while this is an expensive gun...
Yes. We'll get into that, and we'll talk about that later on cost.
We will. But this is a wonderful gun. It's got a lot of versatility
Absolutely
into the gun. But let's talk about the 300 Win Mag caliber that I feel like is only good for moose and bear.
Well, and this is where, again, you and I, we're going to have this debate for as long as we're alive.
We are.
I love the caliber, and the reason why I picked it for elk hunting this year is simply, for those of you who don't know a lot about elk as a animal, they are they are actually an intelligent animal. They are machines, and you are at a very heavy disadvantage in hunting them. I picked a caliber and a gun that I am extremely comfortable with, and I felt very good and comfortable using. Now, yes, I know that it is overkill for deer. My dad actually made specific deer loads for me this year.
He did, but still, a 300 Win Mag against an elk. I mean,
in the territory that we were in the range that we were in, was probably a little overkill, especially with the scope I had on it. I definitely was mid to long range built when we were
short to mid.
We were very. I don't even know if we were mid. I think
there were one or two places that we got to mid,
and that was on the one draw that we were on day 1 and day 2. And I think the furthest I could range out was 650 yards.
Yeah, but even at 650 yards, you're not taking that shot.
No, I'm going to wait for him to walk in probably around the 450 mark.
Yeah. But at 450, I could have taken the elk with my 6.5.
Questionable at 6.5, but I'll still agree with you on that one, yes.
No, it has the energy to pierce the hide and actually get into the internal organs. I could have taken him at 450 with my 6.5.
Yeah.
But this is where you and I disagree, is with my...
We're becoming a little bit more... We're closing the gap.
We're closing the gap. But the 300 Win Mag imparts a lot more energy to the target.
Yes.
Which does impart a lot more killing power.
Well, it also imparts a lot more potential damage to the meat, and I understand that too. However, though, versatility on this, I feel like it is a upper big game round. I don't feel like I actually got my 6.5 out when our deer hunt started.
You did. And we took that around for a while because you do agree with me that the 6.5 is a better deer rifle than the 300 Win Mag.
300 just, even with those loads that my dad made, they were 125 Hornady SSDs or something like that is what they were. What's that one that Hornady makes? Those red tips, they're like the ELDXs.
The ELDX is the Hornady red tips that I use.
But what's the other one? Is it the SSDs or the SDs or
SST?
SSTs, yeah, those are the ones my dad loaded. I even kind of felt like and he went like minimum powder load and went like right above it for those. I still was a little hesitant, so that's why I swapped out. That's why to me it goes elk and everything up from elk at that point.
Yeah, and I'll agree. For an elk, it's probably an okay caliber. Mm-hmm. I still think it's overkill.
Right.
But I mean, with one of the guys that we ran into up hunting, your brother-in-law.
Oh yeah.
He was using a 300 Ultra, and he ended up taking 2 shots on an elk.
That was a very big elk, though, that he did take.
But
I am not surprised that he had to put 2 rounds into that guy. That was a very beefy. Great take. Very happy for my brother-in-law, though. That was an awesome take for him.
Awesome take for him. It was great elk. Looked fantastic. But that's where, 300 Win Mag probably isn't as out there as I think it is for elk.
Right.
And
that's okay. Again, this is our opinion.
I still feel like it's
a little overkill.
It's a little
and that's
overkill.
Respectful. Let's talk about this then. So, just to give you what I was using for elk in this, I had a box of factory ammo, and then I had my dad's hand loads. Both were, so the factory ammo were 180 or 178. I apologize, Hornady ELDXs, and I bought those on your recommendation because we always want to have some extra ammo around, especially when we go hunting. I was rocking my dad's hand loads though, his reloads that he made me, and those were 180 AccuBonds, and I love AccuBonds. I love Nosler's AccuBond on that. So what would be your score on the versatility, keeping in mind the vast range that this gun comes in?
The vast range that this gun comes in gives this a versatility score above what
this particular one would get.
This particular one would get. The rifle itself is a full 5 out of 5.
I would agree.
Because this is one of those rifles that comes in that really low varmint category.
All the way up to
you can take a rifle like this
into Alaska
and go after Alaskan grizzly.
Oh yes, absolutely. Now I feel like I want to do 2 scores. Is that okay if we kind of split the category a little bit here?
Explain to me why you want to split the category a little bit.
Well, just because versatility. I mean, you know what? That's fine. Let's just do it as it is as a 300. What's your versatility score as it is as a 300?
No, because we've talked about this.
Okay, so we're okay then going down that road then. Okay.
We need to talk about the availability of the rifle itself, not just the caliber.
That's fine then. I would give it a 5 out of 5 too. And I apologize. I'm talking about this with my... We're just having fun here, folks. So I appreciate everybody working with us here a little bit. I would go 5 out of 5. All right, let's get into our next category, which is...
shootability.
Shootability, okay.
Now, this rifle...
Mm-hmm.
Extremely shootable.
Yes.
Because the way that this rifle handles the recoil, even in the 300 Win Mag,
it's phenomenal.
This rifle hits about the same as my 6.5 Creedmoor.
And that's insane because we're talking a 6.5 here versus a 300 Win Mag here. I mean, we're talking huge.
You know, the overall length of the cartridges is vastly different, but not only that, your brass is so much longer with so much more powder behind it.
What was your powder loadout in your 6.5?
So the maximum powder loadout I could get in my 6.5 was 42 grains.
And mine were 68 grains.
Yours actually, the maximum that I could find before it became a compressed load was 70.
Okay, 70 grains. So we're talking potentially almost double the amount of powder. And that recoil, I agree with you, is phenomenal.
It's phenomenally well managed. So this is a gun that, much like the VTR, I would take. Oh, it's their second time out. Yeah, let's
play with it. Yeah,
let them shoot the bar. It would be from the bench on their second time out.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't let them shoot freestanding till third or fourth time out. But yeah, this gun just. It shoots so well.
Let's talk about weight distribution because you and I sometimes we love to criticize firearms because a lot of them have the weight all up here. This gun,
the weight.
I will knock myself for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I screwed up, so we need to take this out of the equation here.
This right here doesn't add, even with this, it doesn't add enough weight to the front end to cause too much complaint for me because the weight all comes in right here.
And I love it right there. It's very controllable. It's very wieldable.
It's right there. And the only reason I can't pick up the gun entirely is because, it's very awkward to do on the blade in your hand. But I pick it up right there and it's balanced.
Very well. It's very nice.
So it's very well balanced gun. And so yes, we complain about that a lot on most firearms because a lot of their weight is all right up here.
Mm-hmm.
And back here feels like it's nothing. But this one, they've just distributed it so well across the whole platform.
Well, and as it sits right now, here's the other crazy thing about this. This gun clocks in on the long action. It clocks in at 7.6 pounds with no scope. I am, with this scope, right under 10. So when I take this scope off and replace it with a lighter scope, I'm going to be probably around 9 pounds, which for a rifle like this,
that's awesome.
That is even a backpacking gun at that point.
I mean,
it's going to be a little heavy. It borderlines there.
It is a little heavy, but you were able to. In total, we did anywhere from 45 to 55 miles. This last hunting trip we went on, and you carried this for at least 30.
I think I only used the 6.5 one day, and that was I used it for 2, and that's when we went in. We were on the lower elevation. We went in and did those 5-mile loops. So yeah, I probably did about 35 miles with
About
this thing on
35
my
miles
back.
with this thing on your back.
With a 20 to 30 pound bag.
Yeah, and the only time you complained was when I dragged you up the hill.
Yeah, that was, well, we were both, I think, were complaining at that point.
Yeah, we were. It didn't matter what you had on your back
You
at that
were,
point.
that one was painful.
That was painful. But that's the only time you complained about the weight of it. And so I would even say even now it could qualify as a backpacking gun.
Absolutely. Well, I feel like we proved that.
Yeah, so this is just a really, really good gun.
What are you going to give it, man? I'm very curious on this.
You know, for shootability, it's getting a full 5 out of 5.
I would agree.
Because not only is it easy to shoot, it's easy to carry around. It's not heavy to the point where you can't shoot it like that, like some of the rifles we have. Mm-hmm. It's accurate as well.
This is a very accurate gun. Let's talk about that for a second. And I actually want to mention one more thing that was part of the reason that went into me picking a semi-automatic over a bolt action, follow-up shots. This gun cycles extremely fast, and it is extremely accurate. I think at 100 yards. Okay, now I gotta tell the story. This is hilarious.
No, you find it hilarious. I find it frustrating.
Hey, I bought you 3 more. I don't want to hear.
You bought me
it.
2.
Whatever. I replaced the one and bought you 2 more with it.
No,
we took this out and we were shooting 3/8 steel gongs, our 8-inch gongs. Mind you, they weren't really rated for the 300 Win Mag. Okay, this is how funny this gets. After we shot the gong, and it put the mark on the gong.
It divoted the gong, really nice big divot. And I looked at him and I told him, dude, stop shooting the 100-yard gong. You got to shoot the 200-yard gong. This gong isn't rated to handle the 300 Win Mag.
Well, and what was funny is so I started shooting. I think it was at 250 actually that day. We had it out a little further.
It might have been 250.
The gong, we actually spun it around to where it was just the 3/8 steel showing. It was the blade showing. So I started actually trying to shoot the gong to try and get it to rotate. When we went up there, you could see where it was burning and blazing the gong. It was actually creating that.
As far as accuracy goes, we turned that 8-inch steel gong to a 3/8 inch profile realistically, and both with my rifle that we had out there that day and this, we were grazing either side of it. We never actually did land right on the middle of it.
No,
but we were hitting sides of the gong.
Well, and what was crazy
back
to me,
100-yard gong.
My last shot of the day, I decided to take freehand. And I aimed in the exact same spot on the 100-yard gong. I blew a hole through the gong. And it wasn't like when it came out, it was like fanned out or flowered out. It literally was a hole. A full bore. I overlapped bullets and blew that thing.
Where the divot was,
I overlapped.
You overlapped and punched a hole through the gong. And it looks like you took a drill bit to it
and drilled a hole in the gong.
Through the gong.
That's why, to me, and I know this plays into like some shootability and some versatility and reliability in all 3 of those categories. This is at 100 yards to me. This is a sub MOA rifle, absolutely.
Oh no,
at that point,
this rifle at 100 yards, you could hit the same target all day long.
And then
the way that it cycles and the reliability of it and the way that it handles the recoil, you realistically could shoot it all day long.
Well, and not only that, what blew me away, and give me your thoughts on this too, and then we'll move on, is how easy was it for target reacquisition?
Oh, well, I mean, as far as target reacquisition, I feel like that's more to the scope.
But I'm talking the recoil and the ease of use to actually reacquire.
Well, we've talked about that already. The recoil is almost non-existent. Mm-hmm. It's managed extremely well, which made it really easy to get back on target.
I agree with you. Absolutely. So I just felt like that was important, especially when we're talking about this particular one being a Magnum cartridge. All right, let's get into what I always say is either the most important or the second most important category when buying a firearm, and that is, how much did you spend?
And this is where this gun
is going to lose a few points, maybe.
It's going to lose a few points.
All right, so this is like I said, this was my new one for hunting season this year. I got on Gunbroker. I bid on it. This was one that I won in a bid. And it was factory new.
It was factory new. But before we get into that, because I feel like anything bought on Gunbroker, whether it's factory new or not,
doesn't count.
That is the used market.
Okay, I get it.
If you were to buy this gun
in
a store, how much?
First off, it's a special order. This one is a special order.
I'm aware of that.
Okay, it's $2,000. This particular gun MSRP's at so it MSRP's at $2,000, which means that if you go to a certain gun store, probably like I would say a Shield or something, you're probably looking at $1,900 to $1,950 realistically.
Yeah, but you're right below the $2,000 mark.
You're in the premium market almost.
You are. Well, I feel like that's the beginning of the premium.
Yeah,
market.
I would agree with that.
Now, $2,000 for this thing.
Yes.
I hate to say it. I don't think it's there.
Okay.
But I have a hard time saying it's not there as well, just because it is such a good gun.
To be fair, though, you and I, when it comes to cost, you and I have a very different opinion and outlook on that, and I respect that. At the same time, though, you've also surprised me on quite a few things, especially with some of the alcohol we reviewed and the firearms where you've gone, I feel like it's worth more than what you actually pay for. But I do respect that. Knowing that, though, knowing how you feel about this, please give me your score. I'm very interested to hear your opinion on this.
On this one, I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay, I actually, you're about half a point higher than I thought you were going to be.
No, I'm not going to knock it too much on the cost, because it is, again, it's made in Portugal, so we have to bring it back to the U.S. to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Browning has put a lot of time and effort into it. They've Cerakoted it nicely. They've fluted the barrel.
Yep.
They crowned the barrel so that
is a beautiful crowning job up there too, and a lot of guns now aren't even crowned anymore.
No, they're not. But it's got a beautiful crowning up there that helps handle that recoil. They did a wonderful job on the stock here. The foregrip is nice and textured and actually grippy. So it's done really, really, really well.
Well, and how many different elements was this thing in over our 9-day hunting trip?
Well, we had heat.
Yeah, up to 80 degrees the one day.
Dirt.
Got
rained on.
Got snowed on. Mud.
Then it got in the mud.
And then it got up the side of a rock cliff.
Like I said, it's a phenomenal gun.
Mm-hmm.
I have a hard time justifying a $2,000 gun when you start getting into that range and you start getting into these very, very unique, very bespoke, very well crafted and just crazy guns.
What do you think? What would you pay for this gun?
Honestly, $1,750.
Okay. Now, back to what I was talking about earlier, can I tell you how much I personally paid for this gun?
Now you can tell me how much you paid.
Okay.
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
You got to tell me what your score is at the factory's price.
4.5.
Okay.
I give it a full 4.5. And the reason why I give it a full 4.5, my personal opinion is I don't think there's very few guns out there that I think are worth the MSRP that the manufacturer sets. That is my personal opinion. Okay? That's how I go off of this. However, this gun is a phenomenal gun. It's almost I almost feel like it's worth the MSRP. However, I purchased this gun for $1,650.
See, and if that were the MSRP and what you would add, a normal price for it, full 5 out of 5. I'd pay that all day long for this.
Now, in saying that, though, you can find this gun. You have to dig a little bit, okay? And a lot of it's on Gunbroker. I'm not going to lie to you, folks. You got to dig a little bit. I can find this gun pretty readily available for around $1,750 to $1,850 all day.
Yeah.
Factory new.
But still, factory new, all that means is that somebody got it, They're not selling it in their store, so they've put it on Gun Broker.
Yep.
To sell it on Gun Broker, or somebody bought it from a store and then decided they didn't want it.
Mm-hmm.
It does not mean that the gun hasn't been used. All it means is that it still has all the original packaging, and they still have all the plastics.
Well, and to be fair to Gun Broker, they've changed a lot of their rules on factory new. You actually do have to meet certain criteria now to actually even list as factory new.
Yeah.
But to your point, though, yes, this was in a shop in, I want to say Texas or Minnesota, and it wasn't moving, so they put it on Gun Broker. But it is this one is factory new, and they have changed a lot of that. Anyway, I feel like overall, I'm so impressed with this gun.
I am too. This is a very, very, very good gun, and it does earn the points that we gave it on this one.
I feel like it's earned every single point, and in my opinion, it does. That price category does feel like knock quite a few people out of the running for it, just because it is an expensive gun. It's not a cheap gun.
It's not, but at the same time, you can, and we did, beat the crap out of this thing.
It got punished, and it has come through with shining colors, man. This thing has earned its medal.
But we beat the crap out of it, but we can still do, half inch at 100 yards.
Absolutely. Well, here's the other thing that's really neat about this. So when we were taking this thing apart, the swivel stud system actually on these are kind of unique, and we over torqued it on accident, and we snapped it off, and I called Browning, and they're like, yeah, how many you need? I just need one. Okay, where do you live? Okay, yeah, I should be there by Friday. Customer service was excellent. They actually took the constructive criticism that I had for them. Look, you guys need to put in your owner's manual, like big, bold, red lettering, like on the first or second page, adjustable gas block. And the gentleman that I was talking to said, I agree with you. I like that. I'm going to pass that along to our division that actually writes the owner's manuals for this gun, because he's like, I see your frustration, and he's like, I would feel frustrated at that. Great customer service, though, by the way.
No, great customer service from Browning on this. But I agree with you. They did need to put in big letters.
Mm-hmm.
This has an adjustable gas block that must be adjusted prior to use.
Absolutely. Justin, you have very much surprised me on your score, 18.7. That is, wow, okay.
Now, you say I surprised you. Is that higher or lower than you thought?
That's higher. Like, I figured this thing was going to clock in around 15.
No. And I know you thought I was going to knock it more because of the 300 Win Mag.
Oh, I just thought you were going to knock him also for cost, in all reality, too.
Again, he's not that unreasonable for as good as it is. I just don't like, again, when you start hitting 2,000 plus, you start getting into so many guns that are, many of them are unique.
Mm-hmm.
Many of them are purpose built for something, and it's just, it's hard.
Tight market.
It's a tight market. It's hard to justify hunting a off-the-shelf hunting rifle at $2,000.
Well, in all honesty, it's kind of like when we talk about alcohol. When we get to that $100 mark on some of the bottles that I have and up, that's when, even at the $80 to $100 mark, it just becomes very cutthroat at that point.
It
we
really
have
does.
To get nitpicky.
And
if we're nitpicking this, which we have, and you're giving it an 18.7, I apologize, and I'm giving it
you got it given it a 19.2, which for me surprises me, because I thought you were going to give this a full solid 20 out of 20.
The reliability thing, I can't argue this. I can't deny this.
You're right.
The cost, the reason why I knock it a little bit on cost is I feel like I said, I don't feel like any gun, very few, very, 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 very few are worth the MSRP. This gun, however, I feel like it is, again, though, I'm not knocking Browning. I love Browning. I own a lot of Brownings. You're also paying for the name.
You are paying for the name.
We're going to be very brutally, brutally honest about this. You are paying for the name.
However, this Browning is one, because we've talked about a Ruger, we've talked about a Remington,
Talked about an H&K.
talked about an HK, and now we're talking about Browning. And, Ruger, Remington, Browning are...
Especially H&K.
Well, but just Ruger, Remington, Browning, there's 3 huge U.S.-based
Oh, yeah.
hunting rifle companies.
The only other one we could probably throw in there would be Winchester. And, I mean, there you go. There's America.
There's America's hunting rifle range.
For the last 100-plus something years.
Winchester's the only one we haven't talked about yet. But of the 3 that we have talked about, we have knocked Remington hard.
Remington got
because Remington... we feel like Remington failed us.
The last 7 years that they were in business was very painful.
Ruger, same thing. We knocked them pretty hard when we did my 270.
Yeah, I feel like they tried to invent the wheel though on that one a little bit more than
because they over engineered it, and they tried something that they really didn't need to try, and it ruined the gun. But the Browning, you have several of them. And the reason you have several of them is they haven't failed.
Well, and here's the other reason I feel like that too is this gun's been around for 100 years now. It's 2023. It's over 100 years now.
Yeah, it's over
1918.
We're 105 years in.
Do you know the only major modification in the actual function of this gun, what it was?
Well,
besides it being sporterized.
The gas block.
Okay, the gas block, and then they created what's called the Boss system bolt, and that played in conjunction with
the gas block.
Other than that, the fundamental parts of this rifle and how this gun functions and is used have stayed the same throughout the history of the gun. And that's the thing I love about Browning. They know what they're good at, and they do it phenomenally well. And I apologize, I cut you off.
You did, but that's the thing is Browning, of all of those rifles, Remington tried to reinvent the barrel.
Mm-hmm.
Ruger tried to reinvent the bolt.
Mm-hmm.
Browning went, it works. Why mess with it?
Wait, hold on. Adjustable gas block?
Oh, those are cool. Those actually...
That makes sense.
That makes sense. It gives us a little bit more versatility on that rifle. Yeah, let's do that.
And it gives people the ability who want to use different loads. Maybe they're using XYZ and they need ABC. This is going to give them that ability to do it.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
Browning does such a good job.
They really do.
They haven't failed us on any of the rifles we've used of theirs yet.
And I will buy more of them. Well, Justin, as much as I really want to keep talking about this, it is Halloween and I'm a little scared.
You should be scared. One thing, again, we like to talk about this on all the guns. You got the Vortex PST
Gen 2
on here. It's a good piece of glass.
Yeah, it was great.
It just
overkill.
Overkill. And we will eventually do an episode where we have just all the different glass there. But this one, again, it's a Vortex, and Vortex does great on the scopes.
This was just a really good piece of glass. Again, I do feel like it's a little overkill for the gun. Scope I'm probably going to end up swapping out as Trijicon makes a 3.5 by 15 or something like that. I'm probably going to end up swapping for that.
I mean, I'd look and see if Vortex has one because I know how much you have such good luck with Vortex, dude.
But I also love my Trijicon too. I got that big old Trijicon on the Sendero, and I love that piece of glass too.
You do.
Anyway, let's wrap up here, guys. Thank you for joining in and listening to us. I know we kind of got a little long-winded, but when we get a firearm like this,
we have to go into a little bit more depth.
Absolutely.
On this one. We'll be back shortly with some
fun. Oh, I'm scared. All right, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a
fun time.
Have a great day. Stay safe out there. I'm Chris.
Well, I want to tell him my name.
Well, tell him your name. Are you that scared?
I don't need any of you reporting me for what I'm about to do to him.
Oh, God.
All right. Anyway, I'm Justin. Have a great night, folks.
Have a good night. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, let's get into two of the selections that we took hunting. Justin, what you got?
So the one I've got is the Aurora Borealis vodka.
Okay.
That's what I brought with me.
Interesting. Okay, typical vodka, 80 proof, 40%.
Which is actually the legal standard in Utah. Or in the
legal
US.
standard in Utah. Wow.
Legal standard in the U.S. In order for a vodka to qualify, it must be a minimum of 40% alcohol, 80 proof.
All right. So it's a minimum.
It's a
and this one's
just kind of what everything stands.
And this one's out of Colorado. I remember buying this one. This is a Colorado local vodka.
Yep, it's bottled by Feline Incorporated in Denver.
Okay.
It is distilled from wheat.
All right.
And I know we talked about this a little bit on episode 1 with our gluten-free Silver Dollar.
Is this one a gluten-free? This one's not. No, there's no way it's gluten-free.
This one has wheat, so I'm
assuming this
is
a wheat vodka.
This one is not gluten-free.
Well, most vodkas are either potato or wheat, and so we're in familiar territory.
But with two of the last...
There have been corn.
I've done have been corn mash.
Well, the Crystal Head was corn, and the Silver Dollar was corn, if I remember correctly.
Yes, and then the other one that I've done, the other alcohol I've chosen is the Johnny Walker Gold Label.
Correct. Yeah.
So, 2 of the 3 have been corn so far. Anyway, that's the one that I brought. What did you bring up here?
Well, I brought one that I've had sitting on the shelf for quite a while, and I was waiting for a good excuse to crack it, and hunting was a good excuse. Good excuse as any I can find. It is the Dalmore 12-year Highland single malt Scotch whiskey. This one. Go ahead.
I was looking at it and I could not find a proof or a volume.
I'm pretty sure when I bought the box, it said it was a 80 proof, 40%, if I remember correctly, because I do remember there being an indicator on it somewhere. This one, though, however, I do believe is the entry level of their lineup. They have a 12, 15, 18. Then they have some different cast finishes and small batch. However, though, we'll get into it. So, do we want to start with the vodka, or do we want to start with the whiskey?
Let's start with the
whiskey.
The whiskey there.
Alrighty. Grab a couple shot glasses real quick. Oh, no. Never mind. I apologize. All right. Grab our neat glasses here. These are an amazing... I really like these glasses, actually. I feel like they really do help enhance the ability to nose and taste. And if you're anything like me, sometimes my nose kind of sucks. So, and obviously we've already tasted these. It's just
we have, but we're gonna go through the steps in the process to make sure we give you.
There's that for you, sir.
You know, you get a little bit of chocolate, a little bit of caramel on the nose from the cork.
Right.
You can definitely smell the oak on there.
Yeah, and that's one thing in the other one though that I'm not smelling a lot of though is that smoky campfire type smell, which is I think it's called peated or
cherry.
A little cherry there on the nose, huh?
A little cherry there on the nose.
Alrighty, well go ahead and take your initial there. Kind of see what we get on that. One thing I always like to point out on the initial taste, it's always your palatine taste. I got some oak. I got almost like it was definitely oak. Definitely an oak presence on that initial taste.
I get oak and caramel.
Too smooth. It's just that smooth. This is a dangerous whiskey.
This is a dangerous whiskey. There is a burn to it, but it is exceedingly delayed, and it's so mild that you don't even really notice that it's
well.
there.
And for someone like me, there is no burn. This is almost like just drinking a very amazing. On my second one there, I got cherry and I got that red grape again that you and I were discussing. That red grape and cherry, and then I got the oak in there.
Yeah, the red grape, the cherry, the oak, and I get a tiny hint of smokiness. Not like Johnny doesn't. It's not there, and it's not.
Like that was my third hit. I got the cherry, got the red grape, I got the oak, and I got a little bit of smoke there. Like right there, the smoke's coming back to me a little bit.
But it's just a very, 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 very mild at the end smoke.
I'm not gonna lie, it was unlike anything I've ever had in a Scotch whiskey.
Oh no,
that just not even fair. That one's dangerous.
That one's very dangerous because like I said, that burn is exceedingly delayed, and is very, very mild.
And then if you're used to bourbons or whiskeys at all, you don't even get it. It doesn't exist.
But that on that second drink, it's gone.
Well, and what's good about the Dalmore, I feel like, and I talk about this a lot with the bourbons and whiskeys, is you can judge a good bourbon and whiskey by its progression. And I feel like this one, it's got some very unique and interesting flavors. Like, I think the one that I have never tasted before in a whiskey or a bourbon, even in a Scotch whiskey, is the red grape. There was definitely a very predominant red grape in there, almost like you would get out of maybe like a wine, like a red blend almost.
Almost, but it's the what I find so great about this particular Scotch whiskey is that red grape flavor complements super well in there.
It did it very well, and we don't really get that. Like I said, this is the only one that I've ever tasted where I've actually, like, you and I stared at each other for a good minute. We were like, what is that? Because I think I mentioned strawberry or raspberry at one point, and I was like, no, I just can't put my finger on. You went red grape, and I've thought about it really hard, and I went, yeah, that's kind of what it is. It's a grape.
I remember we first tried this, and we were trying to put our noses and fingers on exactly what fruits we were getting, because we knew we were getting fruit. We just didn't know which one.
Well, I think the other thing, too, is this is another rare occasion with the Dalmore where nose doesn't always transfer to the palate. However, I feel like what we nosed did transfer to the palate and then some, in a good way.
Oh, I agree. It transferred to the palate in a great way. This one, for me, as far as taste and aroma goes, I'm giving this thing a solid 5 out of 5.
And I'd have to give it a 5, too. It's just... when I say it's a dangerous Scotch whiskey, it's a dangerous Scotch whiskey. I mean, you and I, if we didn't have stuff to do tonight, we'd probably drink this whole bottle. You could kill that whole bottle.
You could kill that whole bottle
and be rolling around on the floor.
And not even realize you killed the whole bottle.
Until it hit you.
Exactly.
And that's what's scary about that, is it's that good. All right, Justin, let's go to our next category. We got drinkability. Give me... You're not the huge bourbon and whiskey. You're getting right. Broken into this. I want to hear your take on this one because this is unique.
Now, this is unique, but the thing we talk about with drinkability is not only neat, but it is mixed as well. So go ahead and mix us something up here. But yeah, as far as drinkability goes, we talk about this, and it's would you drink it at home by yourself? Would you order it at the bar, at an open bar, cost notwithstanding? And how does it drink both straight and mixed? So let's get into the mixed here.
Very fruity. I get that smoke, but it's like fruity smoke. Very fruity smoke there. There's no burn. It's almost like a juice.
It is basically a juice. There's no burn whatsoever, but it's almost like a fruit punch. Smoky cocktail.
Punch. Like that's not even dangerous, folks. That's lethal.
Oh, that is absolutely lethal.
That is we're having a bad day. If we ever need a pass day, oh, God.
Oh, yeah. That's a mixed in that simple old fashioned from Stirrings.
Oh, I could see a really fun night with that.
That's kill a fifth without even knowing you killed a fifth. That is super dangerous.
And that's when I think you have a very unique, in the brown liquors, that's when you've gotten something very unique.
It is. And, I'm going to do something that don't often do.
Oh, I'm curious. Let's hear it.
This is going to get another solid 5 out of it.
Okay, I would have to give it another solid 5, too. Here's the thing. Just because it's smooth, just because it's very palatable, it's not short on flavor. And I think that's why experienced and people that have been drinking whiskeys and scotches and bourbons for a while, and they're very palatized to it, they're not going to be disappointed. And again, this is the low tier of Dalmore's lineup. Like I said, they have a 12, a 14, 15 year, I can't remember exactly which one it is, and then they have the 18 year.
Yeah.
And for this being their entry level, this thing is
dangerous.
Very big on flavor, though. That is huge for me.
Well, that's thing is, it's got huge amounts of flavor. It's ridiculously smooth. It is a dang good drink.
Absolutely.
This is one that this next category is going to be a make or break moment for this.
Okay, cost. All righty, you want to know what I paid for it? You're gonna want to know. All right, I paid MSRP. It's $80 straight up. It's what it cost.
Okay, now I did some research on it.
Mm-hmm. I may have paid $70. I can't remember.
This bottle goes anywhere from, at the low end, that I've found, is $69.99.
All right, so $70. I may have paid that.
At the high end, though, I'm seeing it go for $85.
All righty. Here's the thing. I didn't pay over $80 for it. I know that for a fact. I didn't pay over $80.
Okay.
I could have caught it on a good day, and it was $70. I may have even paid $75, but it was right there.
You know, that's a dangerous zone we've talked about before.
It's so competitive.
It's extremely competitive. However, what else is in this zone?
Well, you've got Johnny Walker Gold Label. You even can get a Johnny Walker 18 sometimes at 90. And we've talked about
let's 85 being your cap.
Okay, we've got Elijah Craig's in there. We've got some Woodford. We got Woodford Reserve Double Oak. We've got some really, really hard hitting, solid competitors. We've got the Barrel Proof, that Elijah Craig Barrel Proof is in that. The Johnny Walker Green, Johnny Walker Gold. We have a lot of heavy hitters in that category.
We do. However,
this one's totally different. This is a totally different tasting, unique.
For me, this particular Scotch whiskey, if you had to guess, what do you think I would pay for that? What do you think my opinion on the cost is going to be?
Hold on, folks. I got to get a read on his face here. Because remember, this guy's a cheap ass some days.
Not only that, I'm not a huge fan of the
That's
brown
what I'm saying.
liquors.
I got to look at him. 70, maybe 90. I'm going to go between 70 and 90.
I'd pay $100 for a bottle.
Holy cow, folks, ladies and gentlemen, I give you the surprise.
That right there hits, to me, the only thing that I think Johnny Walker Gold Label does better is makes a better Christmas drink.
The Wassail.
The Wassail.
That was great.
Beyond that,
see, but
bottle hits so well.
And it drinks better than the Johnny.
It drinks better than the Johnny. It drinks better than the Johnny Walker Green Label. It drinks better than the Elijah Craig's that I've had with you.
Again though,
me,
what about the Macallan?
The Macallan.
Because if we're comparing the Johnny and this and the Macallan that I've had you try,
the Macallan's probably the only one
that you've struggled with a little bit.
That I've struggled with a little bit.
And to be fair, that's a double cast. And we'll talk about that one later.
But this one right here hits above the weight class that I would put him in.
I agree. I think are we both in agreement? It's got to get a solid 5 on us.
It's going to get a solid 5 for both of us from this because, again, a $70 to $80 bottle of Scotch whiskey, to me, is Johnny Walker Gold Label. He's better than Johnny Walker.
Well, and here's the thing. If you look at, when you start getting into the Scotch is the single malts and the Scotch whiskeys even, $80, $70, that's your, you have your base tier, and then you have this tier. So we're at the lower end of the spectrum here on a lot of these, because your average cost for a mid-tier bottle of Scotch is realistically, for a good bottle, I apologize, I should say good bottle of Scotch, because I got one in there that's like $30. We'll get into that one later. It's Glenlivet. Anyway, you're $100 to $110 to get a good single malt, and that's just the reality of the. But the fact
that bottle is going for anywhere from 70 to like 85. But he hits smoother and just with so much flavor when compared to others in that category. I don't think he belongs there. I think he belongs in one tier up.
Well, and that would be the Johnny Walker Gold 18-year, or that'd be the Macallan Sherry Cast finish. A couple other ones I can't think of right off the top of my head. But my biggest thing now is, and this is yet to come, we'll talk about this later, I'm really curious now because the 15-year version of this is like, I think it's $90 or $100. Well, it's not that much more. And this is why I'm getting excited, because I don't have that bottle yet. Because I was waiting to crack this bottle to see if it was even a road I wanted to
buy the bottle.
I'm working on it.
Christopher, buy the bottle. This is
It's a knockout. It's
a
knockout.
100 knockout out of the park, which I can.
Overall, we got to give it a 5. I got to give it a 5 on overall.
I also got to give it a 5. I can't. There's nothing negative I can say about this bottle.
And that's just it. There's nothing negative that this bottle is impacted. I mean, look at the bottle even. I love the stag on this. I mean,
it's a beautiful silver stag.
I love the red, because I think it's based off a red stag, but I mean, just the bottle itself. I mean, that's a bottle you would display.
It's a beautifully done bottle, and it's a very well done.
I could see you having, like, even if you were like having a business like a business meeting or something. Oh, you needed something where it's like, okay, let's just be honest, folks. Most of our deals get done on the golf course. For those of us that golf, we're not stupid. We know how this goes. Sometimes, when you know your audience, you got some clients out on the golf course trying to be a little like, hey, I'm gonna sweeten the pot here a little bit. Well, I can tell you, folks, right now, you sneak a little bit of that in the old flask there. But again, upscale party, you want to throw a nice party. That is a bottle. If you want to wow your guests or your clients, this is a bottle that is not going to completely break the bank. But this is a bottle that's going to say, hey, I went out and didn't just buy like a basic Woodford or a Wild Turkey 101 or even like dare I even say like a Russell's Reserve. Not just a 10-year, but the single barrel. You're going to stand out.
You're going to stand out. That bottle's going to catch somebody's eye. And whether they know anything about it or not,
it's going to go over very positively.
It's going to go very, very positively.
Absolutely.
It's going to, yeah.
All right.
It's a great one. This is a first.
I was not expecting this because you didn't even score Johnny like this, folks. You didn't even do Johnny. Go watch that episode if you haven't already. He brags about Johnny, and crap, he's going to kill another one.
I love Johnny. Johnny has always been great for me. He's been my favorite Scotch whiskey blend ever.
Well, and what's funny, though, this isn't a blend. This is a single malt.
I know.
So you've gone into a realm above even what Johnny is.
But Johnny is a Scotch whiskey. That is a Scotch whiskey.
But Johnny's blended. He's not. He's single malt. So you're going into more of a pure... It's still in the same realm. I get what you're saying.
It's in the same realm. They're part of a very similar category, but...
You got perfect scores.
It is a perfect score. This is I think the second or third one you've done with a perfect score.
I think it's the second one.
But
all right, let's get into Aurora Borealis. What do you get on the nose there? Do you get the... Yeah, I get a little bit of the hairspray. Still get a little bit of that hairspray. I think that's just...
It is burning water. We've talked about this.
We'll see how burning the water is today.
Vodka. The word vodka comes from burning water.
Yep. Alrighty.
I don't remember exactly which language that came from.
Probably German or something.
It's Polish, I believe.
That's right. Didn't we talk about that? Vodka did not originate in Russia like a lot of us thought, including myself. It's actually Polish.
It originated in Poland, and the word vodka comes from burning water. See, and I don't even really get that hairspray.
See, here's what's funny about this one to me. I'm going to go first on this one. Okay, this one is smooth. This is a very smooth, clean. I get almost zero taste out of it. Here's where it throws me off so badly, though. When I nose it, I get that kerosene hairspray smell. So it initially triggers that, kind of like the Silver Dollar did, where it's just going to burn a little bit on me, and I just don't.
But that's the thing, is this...
It's kind of almost, like you said, it's almost a great vodka where it's odorless. It's not odorless. Trust me, it is not odorless. For someone like me, it is not odorless. It is almost completely tasteless, though. And you're looking at me, I'm standing here like, I'm fine. It didn't knock me out. It didn't have this huge taste effect on me.
And you know, if you haven't watched yet, watch our episode where we do the Silver Dollar vodka.
And the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
And each one of us, that episode, almost fell on our butts.
That dropped both of us.
Like, each one of those drinks, opposites, obviously. The vodka, I stood standing and was fine. And the Elijah Craig almost put me on my ass. But the vodka kept me standing. I have not put any in that.
Oh, I apologize. I thought you did. So the mixed cocktail we got going on is kind of a, I don't know. I kind of like pineapple juice, so we decided to go with the pineapple and vodka today. It's kind of a fruit cocktail.
It's just, it's one of those simple, basic type of screwdriver where you mix one fruit juice and that's it.
See, here's the thing. I'm not getting a huge... See, I kind of like to taste the alcohol in my cocktails. I'm really not tasting it, which I know that's supposed to be the take on a good vodka. However, I will say this: I get a little bit of on the back hit, barely.
That's the thing.
It's barely there.
Before we start talking about drinkability and in that mixed drink, we got to finish our taste and aroma.
You good? You're good. We got it. It's fine, man. I gave it a 4.
That's respectable out of you for a vodka.
Well, and the only reason why it gets a 4 and it doesn't get any higher is because when you smell it, it's so off-putting. It's scary almost. I
disagree.
But that's okay though, because everybody noses differently.
You're right, but and you compared it to the Silver Dollar a little bit.
I feel like the Silver Dollar nosed better than that.
The Silver Dollar, in my opinion, noses worse than that.
See, that's weird because I thought it nosed better.
That tasted better to me.
See, that tasted better to me too, obviously. So that's why I give it a solid 4.
See, and I'm going to give it a solid 5 because
that makes sense.
It meets that criteria that I set for a good vodka of odorless and tasteless. There is no taste.
No.
To me, there's almost no odor whatsoever.
Well, and there's no burn. That's the thing, though, is
it's smooth.
I've had a few vodkas where... So, this is the vodka I'm going to compare it to, and we'll get to this one later, but my vodka is Goosey.
Is Grey Goose, yeah.
And that is a strong competitor for me to Grey Goose.
Well, see, for me, my great go-to has always also been Grey Goose.
Okay.
However, that Silver Dollar I felt tasted phenomenal. And I was ready to replace Grey Goose with Silver Dollar. However, after looking at our local stores, Silver Dollar's not in there.
No, I've got to get it either in Colorado or Vegas, basically.
Yeah, we got to get it out of state.
Which is weird to me because you can get smoke... I don't know. Can you get smoke wagon here yet?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, that's fine.
However...
And again, folks, when we do these reviews, they are the reviews of what we can get in our regions and where we go. I apologize if you're not able to get them in the regions that you live in. I know the Dalmore, that's a pretty widespread. I don't know about Aurora Borealis because they are they're a smaller distillery out of Colorado.
And it's just like the Silver Dollar, a smaller distillery out of Las Vegas.
Yeah, they're growing huge and fast, though.
But I know that, but they're still smaller. So
both of us gave it a 5. I'm impressed on that, actually. On drinkability.
On drinkability, we both give it a 5 because in that mixed drink, we talked about it a little bit, almost no
burn. There was no burn.
No, I say almost because on that very end, you get a little bit that kind of hits you back here.
Yeah, but that was the alcohol taste I was talking about that I actually like.
Yeah. Me, I prefer the less of that I have, the happier I am.
You've always been like that on that type of an alcohol. I feel like, though, for someone who's not a big
I've always been like that
drinker,
on all of the alcohols. I've felt that the more I can just drink it like a soda,
the better it is. Yeah,
which it was part of what makes that Dalmore so dangerous.
Dangerous.
Because
but here's the thing though: once you get past the nose, that's a very, very good vodka, and that's why I got a 5 for me because I'm not a huge vodka guy. I struggle with vodkas. At the same time, though, that's describing your perfect description of what a vodka should be. That's why, to me, in the drinkability, it's got to get a 5 for me because it's meeting those criterias, except on the nose. But it's still, at the end of the day, though, that's more of the taste and aroma category, not the drinkability category.
Right. And for me, this thing is just...
It's a great bottle. It's a
great bottle.
It's a good one to drink.
Now, cost. Okay. This is one that because of how small the distillery is, I have not been able to find...
$18.99 is what I paid for it.
Yeah. I haven't been able to do any research on the cost because I can't find it.
I got it for $18.99. It was under $20.
And for under $20.
It's a solid bottle. Actually, I might have paid $22. I can't remember. I buy a lot of alcohol. It was between $18 and $22. That's what I paid.
But
I didn't
way,
pay any more than that. I know I didn't.
When that is what you paid for it, and we've talked about this a little bit, you like this a lot better than the Silver Dollar.
Oh yeah, it's not making me fall on my butt.
I wouldn't say I like it a lot better than the Silver Dollar, but it's right up there with the Silver Dollar.
Right.
And as far as cost goes, $25 a bottle, it's definitely one that's staying on the shelf.
It's going to stay on the shelf. It's a good one to stay on the shelf.
Like, it's probably going to stay on the shelf over the Silver Dollar.
See, and that's what's weird to me, though, is I'm going to keep the Silver Dollar because the profile's different. They're two different styles.
They're two different styles, but this one it's cheaper and it drinks better. And so the Silver Dollar, you'll probably wait till it gets a little lower.
Yeah, that one you could probably have two. You'd probably keep two on the shelf because it's cheap, but it's good. And that's the thing is, and this is where I go back into Grey Goose a little bit though, because Grey Goose is anywhere between $35 to $45 a bottle. Goose gets up there a little bit higher in the echelon of the vodkas. Like I said, I'm comparing this to Grey Goose, so at the end of the day, it's going to stay on the shelf no matter what, because I also always have a bottle of Grey Goose on the shelf too.
Right. And so for me, this is, don't ever let that go out of stock.
No, not at all. All right, let's go.
So obviously, just the way we've talked about that's a 5 out of 5 for me on cost. 5 out of 5 for you on cost.
Yeah, because you can't argue with it.
Now, our overall thoughts on this.
Great bottle, worth it. Go buy it. If you're in the Colorado area, it's everywhere in Colorado. Go pick it up if you're out there. If you can
find this bottle, buy it.
Yeah,
it is. Bottle. You are not going to be disappointed.
No, not at all.
With this vodka.
Well, and here's the thing. Here's what I'm looking at for any alcohol realistically. When you're only spending, and I say only, when you're only spending $18 to $22 on a bottle of any alcohol, you're, and a lot of times, okay, let's just be very honest here, you're either gut rot or you're just trying to get drunk. That's just what it is. In most cases of reality, let's be honest about this.
Well, I would disagree. I think there are some cheaper bottles that are exceedingly good.
There are diamonds in the rough, and that's what we're doing is we're finding them. This is definitely one of those ones where do not let the price deter your decision at all.
This is one that, and we've talked about this, the vodkas are often very much cheaper than the browns, the clears.
Well, and here's the thing, though. You should be able to find a good bottle of vodka, I think, anywhere between $25 and $30
easily. However, at the same time, this bottle, to me, as far as the drinkability and the overall thoughts go, is equivalent to this bottle.
Right, and it's very similar. I mean, it meets the minimum criteria for a vodka. It's 40% 80 proof, like we talked about. I mean, it's water and organic wheat yeast. And they're out of Colorado. And I'm kind of looking at, I mean, there's not a lot else on this. And that's okay, because the bottle, it's not to write home about. But again, it's a straightforward, good, inexpensive vodka that I would recommend just keeping on your shelf.
Yeah. If you like any of the clear liquors, or you
drink vodka at all, it's worth keeping.
Or you think there's a drink out there that you've seen that you kind of want to try, but you're not a big fan of vodka.
That's a good one. I would recommend that.
I would recommend using that one to make the drink.
Absolutely. I wouldn't disagree with you at all. Okay. That's kind of interesting. You got a perfect score again there, buddy.
I did. Another perfect score, but again,
it did good. You can't really, I mean, the only place where it really got me is it lost a point on taste and aroma. And again, the aroma to me personally, and I know it's not for you, it was That's a tough hurdle. That was a tough hurdle for me to get over. And the overall score, the only reason why I didn't score a 5, it scored a 4.5, is because I just, as much as I really enjoy this one, I think it's a great bottle. That point that it got knocked for the aroma, if you're not someone if I don't have someone like you with me,
you're not going to
vodka, you're going to smell it, and you're going to put the cork back in it, and you're going to put it back on the shelf. That's the reality of it to me.
And I'll agree. However, and you've taught me this, you got to get over the smell on the cork because it's not necessarily going to transfer to the palate.
No, and that's just it. Snoozing does not transfer to the palate. It does, but it is such a rare occasion to where, and that's why I was able to look past it. At the same time, though, it was a very off-putting aroma.
No, I will agree with you. It can be a very off-putting aroma. I'm like he said, if you pick that one up and you smell the bottle,
just get through it. You'll just get through it.
Ignore the smell.
Yeah,
don't
basically,
even smell it.
Just pour it and drink it.
Just pour and drink because this is phenomenal. It's great.
But here's the thing, though. We can go the opposite direction, like you said earlier, where the Silver Dollar nosed very beautifully to me, but almost knocked me on my butt. Here we had the opposite effect where the nosing was very, very potent to me, very hairspray kerosene-like. Yet when I drink it, it's very smooth and a very tasteful drink. That's why I think we can work both sides of the coin here on this one now.
Well, I think we can. You're right.
But the same could be said for the browns, though. I mean, I've tasted a couple where they nose beautifully, but when you get them on the palate, it's like
there is one in particular that, and I actually have a vodka to pair with it.
No.
No. This is gonna.
Don't make me drink that one, please. Don't make me drink that one.
We are gonna have an episode very shortly.
Don't do that to me.
Where we're both gonna die.
I know what he's gonna do. Your burps are gonna stink so bad.
Well, it's.
I know which one you're doing, dude. I'm scared. But are we doing that for Halloween in our Halloween episode?
Very possibly.
Oh Lord, we're gonna scare the crap out of our wives and children.
We're gonna take that very, very, very horrible
Lord
bourbon that you did.
Which one?
The one that both of us just did not like at all.
Give me a hint.
I'll have to go point at the bottle because I don't remember what it's called.
I'm trying to remember which one, but I know which one you're talking about on the vodka, and I'm scared. I'm very scared.
And we'll take that vodka, and then we'll have a bad day.
I don't want to have a bad day that night.
Those are the two drinks we've got for you today. Again, both phenomenal drinks.
Good options.
I mean, we got one vodka almost getting 2 perfect scores. One and the brown.
They got perfect on both.
They got perfect scores from both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And we have 2 firsts on this show. One where Chris and I agree wholeheartedly on one drink.
Yep.
And I gave 2 perfect scores in an episode.
That's pretty intense, man.
Like I said, 3 perfect scores on one episode.
That's impressive, dude. Alrighty, folks. Well, have a good night. We'll see you guys back here next time. Our next episode is also going to be our Halloween special. And things, like Justin said, are going to get a little spooky.
Things are going to get a little terrifying.
Don't fear the Reaper.
He might come for us. Now, one thing we like to always mention before we go, always be safe when you drink. If you drink, do not drive. There are many, many, many different ways for you to get home.
Yep.
Never mix your guns and your alcohol together. And as always, like and subscribe if you like what you saw today.
Have a good night, everybody. From both of us here at Double Barrel Podcast, we'll see you next time.